by three major sources. The first and most important is the Historical Fencing Guild Patreon. That's patreon.com/the Historical Fencing Guild, where you'll get custom videos, free advice, behind the scenes things, voting rights, odd photos from me from many moons ago, and other such shenanigans. Outside of that, and I love my patrons, we're made possible by sales of the Simple Sword, the Fighting Axe, and the Simple Spear. All three are parts of the ongoing Historical Fencing Guild Manuals of Defense, my system designed to make learning sword fighting inexpensive, easy to do, and a good time. We're also made possible by a generous donation from Joey Bachman over at the Independent Creator Directory and JB Tech Apps, who have covered the money for this year and next year's StreamYard, so that I can continue streaming in 3 places simulcast with all the fancy bells and whistles to make everyone happy. All righty. We do have some stuff to talk about. I am excited. I have spent some guild funds on something. I am looking forward to it because it is a promise to myself and to you. But first, let's go through the chat, get all caught up. Hi, evening, Trelana. Hi. Trey has talked with me. She's probably over in the green room right now, which is fine. It's a special day. It is Michaela Jade's birthday. So making sure the green room is in place is appreciated. I responded to her and bladed Thesis. Hey, Thesis, happy Friday, Sword Family. Happy Friday, Thesis. And Foxy is here as well. Hey, Foxy, how you doing? The nice thing, I know you are living up to your name. And the lovely Cindy Kemp joins us as well. Hooray for Captain Spaulding, the African explorer. Hooray, hooray, hooray. Sure. We do have some minor news. And, Joe is over here. Evening, Joe. Nice to see you multitasking. First and foremost, and you're back this week. Wonderful. I'm so happy that you are, so that we, any new questions, any new comments. I do have some nifty news. A small supply of the polypropylene super light rapier trainers has appeared on Amazon. Now, half of that small supply is currently heading towards me. That means I will have a total of 6 of those trainers. I will be seeking to make sure I have at least that many of the light daggers, the cold steel parry daggers, because they are an excellent match, and probably be setting up a custom rig to hold all of them for ease of use as we renovate the facilities. Now, why have I done this? I have done this, and I can see if, I know where I can find them to show you them. Medieval Collectibles, which is a store out of Princeton, Indiana. And I'll bring them up so you guys know what I am talking about. Oh, no. Did that in completely the wrong order. Let's just do that. We don't need quite so much space, and I'll give myself a little more space to work because it works better this way. But let me get this set up. I didn't know I was going to talk about this till just now, so minor technological adjustments. Bam, bam. And we are going to go Poly Row Rapier. There we go. So if it will open. There we go. Oh, I just back. There we go. Let's fix that. All right. Wonderful. Paris is looking at side swords and possibly small swords and light falchions. I may have the perfect trainer for that in just that I can show you. It's by Wu Jiao, and I have one that I quite like. What this is, it's not perfect, but it does, there we go, give you, and I'm going to hide your comment for just a second. And, oh, wait, let me just get these in the middle. Syndicate is go get Nick's fiction, nonfiction, and other cool stuffs. And that's my Amazon page and my DeviantArt page where you can see my artwork and support the guild at patreon.com/historicalfencing-guild. And she's plugging this show on the show. Currently still looking at side swords, possibly small swords, and light falchions. Those are excellent choices to get into, especially if you know what style you're looking for. I have a delightful, I believe it's a Samshir that may work very well for you if that kind of weapon is useful. And Blade Thesis. I was looking at medieval collectibles earlier today. We learned that they are doing the Renaissance Fair again this year, so we're looking at getting her some more costume pieces. Delightful! Just please avoid any fallible edges. Evening, everyone. Evening, Blue Teddy. Welcome to the door. And yes, I will stay away from the stage this time. Do any demo you're doing in the grass. And we got waves. Now, I'm getting these because they allow for thrusts, the safest I have seen. They've held up pretty well in tests. And when paired with the cold steel parry daggers, are going to be lightweight but safe for what we do in most of the weather we do it. So these are going to be my guild standard until I find something better. And I am very excited. Now, if you go to Amazon, you will be able to find, I think there are 4 left, and I would far rather have them go to you guys than anybody else but me. They are going for the same price here, but if you have Prime, they were free shipping. Oh, they have 18 in stock. They have restocked over here as well. Delightful. Normally, I would prefer to shop from a small company like Medieval Collectibles, but Amazon offers free shipping to me, and that, unfortunately, the difference was enough that I could buy twice as many. Yes, stay safe at you. Stay safe in general. So, at your event, that works too. But there is a sword I did acquire. Silly return key, you're fine. We might be setting up a booth this year. I hope you do. I put the lovely book you gave me and my stamper away while I was trying to clean my desk, and I've since misplaced where the safe spot was. That is not me not appreciating it. That is me being me. So when I find it again, I will be happy to discuss that with you. But I think these will be the safest for what we do. So I'm going to bring me back out. And I might, well, we'll see. We're not having any connection difficulties. So I'll just leave that there. Silly return key. That is a nice looking, it really is. Actually, what I will do is I will just put that up and I will be right back. Now, oh, thank you, Johnny. Let's go back. Yes, well, I have a couple things in reference to this trainer. What I did is I have two, and I'm seeing if duct tape or electrical works better. But I put the tape over it to make it more visible. But as you can see, the flex. Let me move my mic so you can actually see. The flex and weight is very light, so it's foil-like without the risk of a foil breakage. It still provides decent hand protection. The grip is not terrible. The only way it would be better is if it had bullions and a keyhole grip. But, that's asking for, a bit of egg in my beer. This works reasonably well, and it's light enough that even with my hand damage, I can perform at a reasonable level. So, okay, you do your blood sacrifice. If you hear what sounds like a orbital sander / the house blowing a raspberry, we have about between 30 and 45 mile an hour winds going on tonight, and I have very old windows. So when the wind gets just right, no matter how much I brace or secure it, my windows in this room buzz dramatically, as though the house is trying to speak over me. I am sorry for any inconvenience that provides. But, so, with this and the other that I have, and the forthcoming, I should have 6. Eventually, I would actually love to have 10, but that would make it a $500 investment, and that's a lot more than I have access to right now with everything else I need to do. So, it's very amusing. We were taming a baby bull this afternoon. Sounds just like that. It's fine. Oh my. I really do. I've been looking for a foil-like object for a very long time that's safe. It is not perfect because, amongst other things, the blade is octagonal and it does hold an edge. It has polypropylenes. When it's flexible's tendency to be a little unhappy in extreme heat or cold, but we can work with that. I will also say the guard is a bit flimsy. However, I'm working on taking a design. You could actually take the guard off, and it just has a retainer clip. Then let me see if I can get the light to show you. There you go. You see the groove, right? It's right here. Yeah. It just slides right on. And frankly, as a saber style, this is very nice too. The lack of guard isn't that problematic. But I have heard some people have broken theirs. But I suspect they broke theirs by mistreatment. So we'll see. And if somebody breaks one, they owe me another. That's going to be how it is. Now, Paris. The guard by itself looks like fantasy booby armor. It does. Oh, let's see. Let's see. Oh, Blue Teddy thought the noise was the ghost cat. No, the books that were flying off by themselves, that was the ghost cat. And my regular cats are back. They are safe. Dusty ended up getting a wound, probably from Stuart, that was rather severe. It actually scared me and had me up quite late. We got him cleaned up, and they gave him some extra shots, and he appears to be healing okay. So they're both in isolation for a while everything settles down. But the cats are well. I was thinking vacuum. Don't let him fool you. That's him sensing another cryptid nearby, a la the Highlander. Okay. The guard itself looks like fantasy booby armor. It does. And I like it here more. You would. Now, if you're not looking for flex protection, I am actually rather enamored with this, which I found on Amazon. I'm trying to get. The problem with black trainers is they're hard to see. But this is a very nice slight curve. Basically, it's a good scimitar or falchion trainer. Friends, it flows like a dream. Uh, it really brings out my inner Nemo. And a part of me would love to get a second one and just embrace my old school RPG fanboy and drizzed the heck out, but I don't have that. So Dusty would not go to the hospital. He would not give them the dang satisfaction. The American dream does not yield. Had to go there. Yes, they do, Thesis. Anyway. So I needed something to pair with this that felt fluidic, and I remembered one of my all-time favorite trainers, and in many ways, the knife that got away. And that's going to fall, so we'll put this over here by that. Yeah, it's standing up. This is at first sight a very not Nick knife. But this trainer was given to me by Steve Clausen, and you're not going to get me to get rid of it. It is one of my absolute favorites. And if they would just double the length on this, keep the hilt exactly the same, and maybe put a bit of pommel on the end, I would be in seventh heaven. This is based on a real production knife. And it is just, frankly, edgy enough to, I think, even make Johnny Cage feel a little bit of a rumble in his tumble, so to speak. This is the FE9 by CRKT. And it just looks so positive. It is a fighting knife, except no imitations. It's large, it's heavy, it's got a 9-inch blade. So this is still very, for dagger, for fencery stuff, this is very short. But danged if this isn't just a wonderful weapon and tool. And the knife itself was somewhere around the $200 range. And there is a part of me that desperately laments that I wasn't able to get it while it was in production. Because this is just so... It flows. It sings. It sings... It is applied violence in polypropylene form. And I think I really do quite like this knife. So remember that I am an RPG geek. This is my Artemis Interior loadout. And I'm going to be doing a bit more work with this as the shoulders and things loosen up. Because this is just a touch heavy. But one nice thing is the fullers. Let me see if I can get an angle where you can see them. Let me do it like that. There we go. The fullers actually give an audible whistle so that, and I can't demonstrate it now because I'd have to demonstrate it over the buzz, but when you swing it, if your edge alignment is proper, you can actually hear that it's proper. It's very, very informative. However, it is also not there is basically no flex. This is almost purely a chop and slice knife. And, sometimes I'm absolutely here for it. And Thesis likes the other knife with spikes. Paris Corvus says, been doing quite a bit of research over the last week on Italian masters. Share your research with the class, friend. Are you finding a leaning towards one? Is there materials you would like made available to you? Because arrangements can be made on some of that. It's a little hard because Arma, the what is it? American Renaissance Martial Arts or Armored Renaissance Martial Arts organization has been kind of clamping down rights to as many of those as they can to try to keep membership. It's something I think is a little dicey to at least the translations. But yes, I think if you want to do a fencing style, especially rapier or short sword that transfers over, going with the Italian masters is a great place to start. I mean, my book is a great place to start, but I don't want to be that guy who's like, buy my book, it's the only way. Guy Windsor's The Duelist's Companion, The Swordsman's Companion. I think they're both by him. Great book, not a holy Bible, as some people I know have treated it. And Palpable Hit. If you like books and DVDs, look up Palpable Hit. That's Anthony DeLonghis's film outlet. And you may not know the name Anthony DeLonghis, but he has been a huge number of sword fighting villains in Hollywood. He's been a stunt guy. He has henched pretty mightily as a henchman, and he instructs all manner of martial arts. Vadi is interesting. You will have trouble finding his work. Most people kind of simp for Agrippa. Now, me, I am of course a Gigante guy, and you can find his work highly readily, especially if you contact me. There are a couple really good translations. Tom Leone's translation is pretty much the gold standard, but you usually have to pay for it. Silver Ogre, hello Ogre. Caught a live stream. Good evening, Nick and everyone. Good evening, Ogre. You have been on my mind, sir, because as I am working on codifying the Dusk Falls over Ravencleft Gorge from my bizarre notes into something publishable, I have been thinking about my favorite bosses that I'm putting, including the Ogre Chef. But I'm glad to see you come through the door. I'm a little dehydrated. The cold pulls it out of me. And hey, Ogre, long time. But I'm trying to remember what that sword is called. It's a very good sword. There's also a cutlass you can get by Wu Jiao. What is it, like a 30-inch cutlass in polypropylene? I think they call it the pirate sword, pirate cutlass. Fantastic weapon. Just has a bit of belly that's a little thick for my personal grip. Yep. Degrassi and Capo Ferro. Good choices. Capo Ferro is a excellent source, as is Degrassi. You can build a good style. I think that's probably Capo Ferro is probably who you'll find the most on. Degrassi, a close center. I keep saying Degrassi like the high. Anyway, but for your basic Italian lunge styles, you will find that delightful. I do recommend, as a counterpoint, George Silver's Paradoxes of Defense. Even if you're not reading it to learn, the phrasing of his shade at the beginning of the book, talking about how rapiers are not the true swordsman's weapon or something like that. It is delightful to see that much hate out of one man. It's kind of funny. So I do recommend that, if only for that, and his treatise on simplified dagger and buckler. I believe he was rather fond of buckler. But yeah, you will do well looking at those. And you should find modern English ones if it's a little easier for you to read based on those. I can't remember if you've told me your body type, but yeah, I found Thibault cancels out Capo Ferro. Thibault can actually cancel out large portions of Capo Ferro because that's what the Spanish were fighting against. And they wanted to bypass the traditional Italian approach of dominating the line by making tangential attacks. Thibault is a delight if you can get your paws on it, or you can read it in its native Spanish. Oh, you're working on your game system? Excellent. But this is Nick's Combat Art stream. It is, however, today is a special day because in the way of combat arts, saying WotC has been slain. Well, the Hasbro approach to try to use D&D to take all over both the entire RPG and the entire VTT spectrums failed delightfully. I did a rather stuttery, because I was so excited it was difficult to speak, video breaking down their stuff earlier today on the Nick Talkert channel. And unless your opponent studied Agrippa, which I have. And that's what you do. What you do is you read it, and I will tell you between 60 and 80% of all the masters of defense say the same things when it comes to rapier. I'm rather fond of it, and that's what I built my style on. The points of difference and intersection get really fascinating. So one thing I like to tell people is, if you they sent a beautiful letter. Foxy, you're subscribed to the Nicholas Tucker YouTube channel as well. I hope. If not, you all should be. I try to keep this channel pretty clear. But they actually stopped. They're not doing anything to the original OGL and 5.1, the newest edition of Dungeons and Dragons, the SRD, the set system reference document, is now fully 100% published under a Creative Commons 4.0 license, which means anyone can use anything in it for any reason, including video games. So it's there. As usual, I'm a slow typer. Careful, Icarus. It's a victory for now, but corporate won't fold so easy. No, it won't. But because because 5.1 is this is tactical thinking, so I'll let it slide because today is a very special day, is a Creative Commons. They can't pull back that, which means anything that several people that I care about has written is safe. That they don't have to worry about WotC coming after them for that. I wouldn't have. Let me tell you this. I watched the OGL hit 30 years ago. I'm sorry, 20 years ago, and I said that's a bad idea. There are a couple points of exploit I don't like. That's why I never made an OGL game. Instead, someone who's dyslexic, dyscalculic, and hates math learn to make their own systems. Yep. Giggles. Watched it earlier today with Alec. It's a good film. It is an amazing film. As Thesis said, do not anger the nerds, for they are legion. For we are legion. Thank you very much. Yes, they actually did, Ogre. They completely dissolved all the VTT plans. It's in the letter. I can send you the link later. The duel between Wesley... Yes, the duel between Wesley and Inigo was as good as... Thank you. That is the finest example of sword fighting on film to date. I really believe that because... Carrie Ewes and Mandy Patinkin, I had to pull their real names out, and I'm horrible with names, trained with Richard Anderson, I believe. And at that point, they were probably the best swordsmen in the world when they fought that. They were certainly the best stage swordsmen in the world. They may have simply been the literal top combative swordsmen in the world during the time they were working on that movie. Their form is crystalline. It is watching it when you can tell what's going on. It's a near spiritual transit. It's gorgeous. It's absolutely two masters doing what they do best, and I love it. Better than the court jester sing with the bell ringing. Yeah, I'm going to have to say yes, it is. Although I'd put that scene in the probably top 5. But then again, you have to remember my view on sword fighting scenes is a little not warped, but it's biased. Yes, 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 sir. Count of Monte Cristo with Jim Caviezel and Guy Pearce. That right there is number 2. That, yes, 1,000%. The blows are much more saber-like, though. There's a lot more saber into it. It's more cutting. But good Lord, is that amazing. And I think the murderous intent is there. The only, let's see, you have that. You have there is one, I think it's a Polish movie about World War I, where there is a saber fight in the rain, in the mud. And it is the most brutally accurate sword fight I think I've ever seen, which is a different kind of accurate. I'm less technical, but I like all 3 of those movies. Oh, well, sometimes training isn't knowing what's right. It's learning why it looks right, much like any art. It's why I have a problem with modern saber fencing collegiate, because the whippiness of the blade allows for metagaming attacks that do not fit with the spirit of the weapon as intended. And if I were, biased enough to say do it right, I would make them fight with heavier blades and heavier gear, and actually fight saber like a saber, not like a whippy foil / epee style weapon. The duelists, though, oh, that is so good. Okay. Point. Well, what we may have to do is just make a list of the best fencing movies of all time. I could not broadcast that because I'm certain I'd be copyright struck, but I might be able to do something for the Patreon folks at some point, as in a custom video that either I would do through Patreon or put in Google, do a room like this that's recorded and send the invites to you guys, but not broadcast. Yes, The Musketeer from 2001. Did the fight choreography? Yes. Scene autopsies. I would love to do that, and I know other channels can get away with it, but I'm not sure how to get the formatting right. I am terrible at editing. Many channels have a team, or they have a separate editor. I pull all this out of my there, but I could probably do something like that if we were separate, because I would like to expose you to some fun fencing movies that, some of it isn't as technical. Rapier fighting with an Asian twist is actually very close to what I do, because I am highly influenced by Rapier, but highly influenced by Jin and Dao, as well as more katana than I care to admit. So occasionally I do very strange things in my personal style. And one thing, I find it's best when you're pursuing styles to make the decision early. Are you going to focus on one style and learn it as a textbook style, or are you going to develop your own? So there's a lot to go in there. I love that. Yes, the characters in the Duelists seem more interested in not dying than looking cool. This is true, and that's why it's like when people ask me the best fight in all of Star Wars versus my favorite fight. Uh, Ironically, they both involve Darth Maul. Because I think oh no, I gotta think about that. The best visual fight is either Ahsoka versus Darth Maul on Mandalore, as just visually, or Anakin versus Ventress in the 2001 Star Wars, the Clone Wars. The guy who did Primal did him. Gary Tarkovsky, something like that. Brilliant. I'm just terrible with names. The best, my favorite fight in Star Wars, in all of it, it is the final duel between Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Maul on Tatooine in Star Wars Rebels. Because that, not only do you see skill, but you see the refinement of mastery. It's simplified. There's not all that jumping around and being swirly. And it also provides a, dare I say, gradient from the acrobatic insanity of the fights of the prequels and sequels to the two surprisingly old and battered men just wailing on each other with what they have in A New Hope. That's the best route to go. You have to see what works for you, stress test it wherever possible. Viewer Bowie is Jin to Ginny. I see that. Oh, this is true. The final fight between D'Artagnan and Fevre very much mirrors the latter fight between Jet Li and Donnie Chen in Once Upon a China 2. Yes, it does. Now, I am leaning into Western media because first thing I do is I dislike wire fu in my sword fights. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon is an exquisite film. I'm absolutely going, just artistic and beautiful and gut-wrenching, as many Chinese kung fu movies tend to be. That's sad and soul-destroying ending. Uh-oh. Okay, cool. Lagged for a second there. But I think if you look through some of the different older films, you'll see some truly glorious sword fighting. Ip Man has some great weapon styles. Of course, I'm a sucker for Wing Chun Longbow, but this is important. I want to clarify. This is important. Looking and learning what you like will help you know what you want to do. Now, if we were looking practical videos, there are some series I can recommend. First and foremost, La Verdadera Destreza, which is the what is it? The true and sacred skill of fencing, the Spanish magic circle, basically. Maestro Ramirez, I want to say it's Martin Ramirez. Through About Palpable Hit. It's a 3-part series. Is if you wanted the best intro to Spanish rapier and then Spanish dagger, and there's a third volume, and I at some point must have it. But I would definitely go with those. Anthony DeLongis himself did a wonderful intro to and we did a wonderful series on Saber for Cold Steel, of all things, because Lynn Thomas, the CEO of Cold Steel, is dedicated to education. Maestro Ramirez also did an Italian fencing one for if you would rather have Italian form. A lot of it depends. I have to check those out too. And if you do rapier with an Asian twist, Nick, I will have to go back in this channel and watch any of your fights if you have any. There are fights. I don't know how many of them have me really showing off much. There are some fun. There is a wonderful bout that my video camera did not catch it, and the second bout only got caught on a gentleman by the name of Sword Sage, who I've known forever. I used to be his fix-it guy. When he was trying to figure out how his Chinese would work, he would fight me, and I would meet style for style. But I tended to stay more Western to offset his Asian, whereas I would dabble in the stranger stuff the more rigid Western my opponent is. It's the theory of contrary approach. So if your opponent really wants to circle in the open area, you make sure you're fighting very linear. You make sure that your body movements break the circling into forcing side-to-side motion or front-to-back motion. You don't let them fight how they want to. If they want to run away, let them. Just let them go. I'm not chasing you all over the field. You'll have to come get me. Unless there's a scenario. If they're aggressive, retreat. You always have to do the opposite of what they're really comfortable with. You never want to fight somebody in their game, and you always want to make them fight in yours. The fact that the Bruce Lee biopic fiction had Wire Fu making the film even worse than it already was. Bruce didn't need Wire Fu. Bruce was just that good. I mean, both he and Donnie Chen actually were able to throw shots fast enough that they didn't show up on film. Okay, he was so fast in his punches that they would the movement happened between frames. Just devastating. I really like the comparison between Spanish and Asian circle styles. Well, a lot of it's the where your circle is and why you're doing it. But like I said, I find they both feed into each other very well. And you have to be careful when you're mixing and matching, because I had an instructor who favored Italian footwork but Spanish blade work. So that means he would lunge into things that you should not lunge into and do the opposite. That meant his calibration was a nightmare. You should watch Steph Marie's fights too. She is body type similar to yours and Foxy, so it would be a good primer. That's right. You are built in a short and curvaceous, not trying to be offensive or overstep, just trying to keep people's body types in line. So yeah, you may really like Gigante, because you may find that extreme lunges are a little off balancing and leave you vulnerable. Yeah, hobbits are good. I would still like a video comparing Distressa and Bagua, but it would take some deep research on both sides, but it would be fascinating. I'm working on that. but I am working on that, and I have to reach out to actually Swords Age. We keep wanting to do another. Oh god, I'll get the. Collaboration, collab. That's the word I was looking for. It's been far too long, and that would be the perfect subject for it. Those were the names I was blanking on. Bladed. I got you. Watch the fight between Donnie and Sammo from Iron Man 2, from Ip Man 2, when they're throwing chain punches. It is hard to follow because they're that fast. Yes. She's a Hobbits too. Yeah, I'm short and chubby. Like I said, I am 5'7", 5'8", depending on which of my legs you measure, and 330 pounds. I am a short, round man. I am working on it, but dealing with either dwarvish or hobbitish builds is kind of becoming one of my specialties. I've worked with people who are 4 foot tall. I had one student briefly who was 4'3". Her husband became uncomfortable that she was learning a martial art because that could, quote unquote, make her dangerous, and requested that she stop it. My attitude is, if someone is scared of you being dangerous, why? But that was not my place to intercede, so I didn't. A lot of it's finding weapons that fit. Ironically, beer keg people. I've gotten the same thing. There are reasons why my nickname in certain circles is the Mighty Manatee Man, because I'm a kind of squat little creature who prefers to, if I had my druthers, float around in warm, shallow water, just living life and being. That would be my form of hedonism. Thesis says, I love the Ip Man fight, Cindy. There's actually a spin-off movie called Master Z, which has an amazing final fight between Dave Bautista and Max Zhang. Yes. Oh, God. I'm trying to remember which of the Ip Man fights, which of the Ip Man movies has him versus the other master. It's this dusty road, and there are leaves blowing around, and they're just trying to see which one of them has it. And I want to say his wife comes out, the other master's wife, and tells them to stop this foolishness and come have tea. I've always been told I'm built like an elf, but I'm not that slim. You may be built like a true orc, and there is nothing wrong with that from the way you look. You also have just a classic, mildly heroic human RPG human build. Dangerous is the only way to be. You can't choose peace if war is not an option. That's the difference between being peaceful and being harmless. I would love to live in a world where I could be harmless, where everyone could be harmless. It would be delightful. That skill set would not be needed. In fact, I would love most of my skill sets to be that way. Reincarnated as a manatee, eh? Well, the worst things in the world for you are usually the things that are the most tempting, I find. And I couldn't help anybody in that shape. So, much like my own journeys to battle my own physical limitations, I have to battle the temptation to just surrender to it. Yes! Fist of Legend! Thank you! I'm sorry. I was watching an Ip Man movie, and I fell asleep, and I woke up in the middle of this fight scene, and I'm like, this is great. I have no idea what this movie is. Oh, absolutely. That's what. Absolutely, I trust Thesis to know. But there's nothing wrong with watching movies for inspiration. Just don't watch them for education. Yes. I would put him almost on par with Swords Edge, who has thousands and thousands of followers, But you should follow him too anyway. He's very, very talented when he gets to do what he does. But yep. And that's good. If you want to learn Chinese systems of swordplay, I can't underscore how useful Dr. Yang Jwing-Ming is. His introduction to the sword is a necessary viewing item. I used to own it. I don't anymore. It was one of those that walked. I had basically one of the books that was my collection of training DVDs from the old days. Walked. Somebody either borrowed it and didn't ask me, or simply stole it and never, So I have to rebuild that collection over the course of the move, which is tragic, but a reality. But I was looking into the Chinese 7-point style at one point, because that was before I actually ended up getting CPI certified, which is Crisis Prevention and Intervention. And that is the means of defense they teach people who work, in medical and with psych patients and special needs folks. And I specialized in the extremely behavioral cases, so I had 2 years of constant, intense training and practice. It is affectionately talked as hug fu in some circles, because you're not striking and you're doing your level best not to hurt anyone, but you are defending yourself in such a way to keep yourself safe. And being that I am a failed pacifist, I find that a better way for me. If you describe the scene well enough, I usually can tell you the movie. First time I watched Crouching Tiger, I only caught the last 10 minutes of the movie and I had no idea what was going on. Actually, the same thing happened to me too, but I didn't care because it was cool. Bamboo forest fight, but not... Oh, yes! Oh. It's gone. But I will tell you this. I did watch a beautiful, incredibly schlocky, modern kung fu movie. The kung fu fantasy fight movie. And it was based on one of the greatest pieces of literature of all time. It was the Journey to the West, the first part movie. And I am familiar with the story of Journey to the West through overly sarcastic productions, quasi-anime description of the ongoing Journey to the West. It's like Journey to the West Kai. It's they Dragon Ball Z the heck out of it, and it is divinely entertaining. But House of Flying Daggers, yes, you're right. You're thinking of Naruto. No, I know you're not. Lol. Kakashi is the OG. I'm just going to lay that on the floor and just put that down and walk away. They may have had more powerful characters, but Kakashi was the boy. Is the boy. That's where it goes. Thesis trivia night, where we describe movie scenes and see if you can get it. You know what? That might be part of one of these days. I'm just going to say, okay, Thesis, you want to set up a camera setup? We'll set you up. We'll stream you. You can be co-host on the show, and you guys can do shenanigans that way. That could be fun. I think so. Paris. But if you get a chance to watch Journey to the West, it was amazing. I also have to admit, if I talk about the people who influenced me most in my youth, it is a split between, it's not Jock Mahoney, I can't remember the gentleman's name, the black and white Zorro. Okay, the black and white serial series of Zorro, and Jackie Chan. Like, these are the two forces that came together. In college, in high school and college, because they had Samurai Sundays or something like that, the Kung Fu, they would do a Kung Fu movie and then a Godzilla movie back to back. Oh, always classic. Uh, I fell in love with the silliest, stupidest Kung Fu movies ever. And there are two that I will always love. One is The Guy with Secret Kung Fu. That's the name of the movie. It is a classic. It has to be watched. And then, quite possibly, my favorite bad Kung Fu movie of all time, The Dragon's Infernal Showdown. Oh my gosh. This movie must be watched. At some point, Dragon's Infernal Showdown. I have found it multiple times at dollar stores. It must be watched. If you are into Asian fantasy, which I am, Detective D is amazing. I highly recommend watching The Untamed. You can find it on Netflix or Amazon Prime if you can want to pay, or Viki if you want to watch free with ads. Okay, I will have to look that up. And I know there was one series, and I don't know if it's The Untamed. It had Nick Frost in it, of all things, and it was it was one of the weapons are banned, and it was a series where basically everybody suddenly had to develop martial arts to defend themselves in this gun-free world. Another one, if you get the chance to see it, you simply must see it. It's called Banraku. And it has Ron Perlman, Demi Moore, Woody Harrelson. I cannot remember the name of the gunslinger and the samurai. But it's a bizarre, and it's a bizarre, almost shadow play of events. Yes, Welcome to the Badlands is what I was thinking of. Thank you, Thesis. But yeah, Bunraku, it's one of those movies nobody watched, and my buddy Jim mentioned it, and I saw it at a dollar store. Actually, no, I saw it at a dollar store. I picked it up, and I'm like, a gunslinger without guns and a samurai go to fight their way against the woodsman. And I'm like, oh, I have to watch it. But yes, Bunraku is an absolute must-see film. And for a bizarrely fun character. The Untamed, the main character, Wei Wuxin, he gets royally messed over, so you feel, oh, God. See? That's my part of my weakness. I hate seeing unjust, soul-destroying movies, which is why I've tried not to talk about, what is it, Little Big Soldier? Jackie Chan's incredible epic. Oh, my gosh. And it is funny none of us mentioned Hero. If we're talking Kung Fu movies, Hero, it just deserves it. It's just that good. But watching those and going, I want to learn how to do that, is a lot of what got me doing what I do. It's the reason why there's a gin trainer over there, and I'm surrounded by enough training weapons and real weapons to probably arm a small, militia. Hero is bomb. Hero is absolutely bomb. And the fight that happened in the mind is in the mind. The fight between the two, where they figured out each move by just looking at each other, is probably the most surreal, beautiful fight in the whole thing, and one of the best in cinema. See, wire fu is something that has to be handled well, and it really was there. So we got to talk about things like this, guys. And I know it seems like we're going way off topic, kung fu movies and sword fight movies, but these are the stories that inspire us to what to do. We could talk. Pirates of the Caribbean has some of the, especially, my gosh, the sword fight in the armory, in the swordsmith's shop, between Captain Jack Sparrow and Will Turner is just a study of a master of a set piece fight. The perfect use of scenery and storytelling while you're fighting in conversation, because a good fight in literature is wait, hold on. Is a conversation. It's part of telling the story, whether it is exceptionally brutal or beautiful. And you had Nameless and Sky's fight in the chess house. Now you're bringing up, wow, that is deep cuts of beauty, though. Yes. Well, folks, believe it or not, in all the shenaniganry, we have actually cracked an hour. So I want to thank you all for being here. What we've given is some real recommendations, some inspirations, and a bit of fun, which we should have, because you got to believe that dragons can be slain. I watched it happen. I also want to state that Paris was asking about my fighting. You can, if you scroll back, there are many, many live fights to peruse. And it was fun, thank you. Any of the fights in Hero are pretty, not realistic. No, totally not realistic. It's like Detective D and his sword breaker are not realistic. Heck, Final Fantasy VII Advent Children is the ultimate embodiment of the rule of cool in fighting. It shows just how far you could ramp up. How cool can we make this and have it be believable? Well, not immersion breaking. You've watched dragons slain, and yet you're not a cryptid. I was referring to WotC and Hasbro backing down on the OGL. Not literal dragons being slain. I've seen one put to sleep, and a couple have come and gone in their time. And I don't want to talk about them because names have power, but no, I haven't seen any killed, haven't had any need to. He says he's not. I'm not a cryptid. I'm just a short, fat, furry little man. Friends, I am just a harmless, good old boy, just making my way through life, trying to help folks where I can, and keep my, go to bed with the same number of holes in me I started out with. I don't know where all these allegations of supernatural capabilities. I just have the bad habit of being in the right place at the wrong time to inform somebody they should have been running, and we need to be went. You keep saying that long enough, and we might believe it, Ogre? Okay, a cryptid is a mysterious, quasi-real, supernatural entity. I am boring. Guys, I'm just not that interesting. I have a couple tricks up my sleeve, but I'm just not that special. Methinks he protests too much. We don't believe you. I'm not a cryptid. It's just what a cryptid would say. Trust me, I'm an ogre. I don't really know where all of this whole cryptid thing. See, I'm just the guy who tells you, look at these cheap swords. These are wonderful swords. I would never claim any form, see, I am not in any way, shape, or form a cryptid, a supernatural character, or anything involving the paranormal or folklore. I'm just a plain guy who's trying to get you guys to acknowledge that right now on Amazon, you can get these guys for about $50, and they're a really good investment for a relatively safe trainer. So I really want to encourage you to get that done, because I think you'll find that they help, and they are medieval. What's it? Yes, Medieval Collectibles has 18 in stock. So I think maybe you should consider doing that. Don't forget to tip your host. Yes, exactly. Thank you. If you wish to, if you don't like Patreon for whatever reason and you just want to support me financially, it would be much appreciated. PayPal.me/Nicholas Talkert, or go to my Amazon page. You can even do, if you do your shopping on woodenswords.com, which is Purple Heart Armory, and use the $click equals 1745 at the end of your stuff. You'll go through this link. It's my affiliate link. I'll get a little kickback for you guys. I think it's 2%. But more importantly, they'll know that my viewers are going to their store. And that gives me more power to my voice when I'm like, hey, would you consider making this trainer? I have some people who would like one. And let me see. Horny, I don't know what you're talking about. I just about fell over laughing. Go to Amazon.com/store/Mr. Nicholas Anthony Talkert, author, and get all of Nick's books. Yes, The Simple Sword is there. The game books I designed. My Art and Tales book is there, which I'm very, very proud of. Goat legs, huh? Maybe you should shave. Your wife would appreciate it. Actually, I shaved once without warning my then fiance, and I hugged her, and she didn't recognize me, and she punched me in the jaw so hard it dislocated my jaw. We all laugh about it now. Nick's art can be found on deviantart.com/NickT. Support the guild on Patreon. Dude, your glamour dropped. We can see your horns. Rein it in before the normies show up. Don't know what you're talking about. Never happened. These are not the horns you're looking for. Don't forget to join the Historical Fencing Guild on Facebook. Yes, it's a great place. It's a public group. Just hop on in, and we exchange information, links, videos. I'm not sure how long it'll last, but it says my sub restarts February 1st. Thank you. Seriously, it is appreciated, because I don't buy the gear that I buy because I need it. If I were taking care of myself, it would be easy. I'd have about 1/10 of what I have, and it would be very nice. But I buy the gear so that people who come out can train for free. And they can train with the same kind of equipment and then save up to get their own. That's what the money goes to. Because I can tell you, when I get the money for the guild, part of it was going to cover StreamYard. The rest of it goes to buying gear, either replacing things like my boom mic, keeping the high production standards I have here, or buying gear to review, because I could not afford to do so otherwise. And what I do is I train people, and I have this habit of, especially if they're in a financial situation, because where I live is not exactly financially affluent. Trainers have been known to go home with folks because I'd rather have them train. Sheesh. Yeah. I'll try to pick up. Thank you. I think you'll enjoy it. And that I try to keep them as inexpensive as possible. In my not understanding the publishing world, I used a very small amount of color in my first book, so they charge me the print fees and stuff are as though every page was full color, because it's an either or kind of thing. And so I only make literally a couple bucks on any of my books, because I keep the prices as low as I can to match the print cost to get it into people's hands. I saw the weather. The Midwest is freaking freezing. Frozen Hobbit is not a good plan. Yeah, the what you've been hearing of the buzz means that it's about 30 to 45-mile-an-hour winds at probably, well, I can check. We are in the slight break in the warmth. So uh, let's see. Yeah, it's about 34 right now. So it's probably 10 degrees with wind chill. We're getting down to 20 below wind chill, and we have seen as low as 60 below wind chill out here this year. So it is beyond deadly cold. It's like I don't check the mailbox because you could die. You fall down and you freeze to death. It's literally that scary. So we take it easy. Now, yes, along with the Guy Windsor, maybe a couple others. Don't miss that at all. Yeah, Paris, you should pick up The Armored Rose by Toby Beck. Yes. Any woman who is looking to armor herself or anyone who's looking to train women in heavy combat. Now, it is spun from the SCA heavy perspective, so you learn from it what you can. But it is just a necessary read. And ugh, -60 sucks. Yeah, that really bad cold snap earlier this year, we had -60. It was colder here than in Antarctica. And we had an unseasonable warm up, and we're going to be back into -20 or something wind chills over the nights. I want to say this weekend, either this weekend or early next week. So it's deadly cold. But yes, to reference an earlier question, yes, you can see some of my sparring sessions and the sparring sessions of different people and students. For example, Trelena is visible on there. Joey is visible. We mentioned Steph Marie. She's visible. My friend Jim. People of real body types. People who aren't all tall and athletic. Now, we do have some very tall, very athletic people who come through as well. And in some cases, as you go back, you will see my short self against very tall, athletic people and see how it works. Johnny Freaking Cage says Antarctica isn't a real place. Now, to anyone who doesn't know, Johnny lives in Brazil and believes that cold is a myth. Yes, I remember that happening once when I was in school. Yeah, I bet. And I will check it out, Thesis. Thanks. Any other recommendations can go through Thesis, Foxy, or Kitty. Paris, if you want to, be sure to join the Facebook group if you're on Facebook. And, reach out to me. If your name is different there, message me to say, this is Paris Corvus. And, something to let me know that's actually you. And I'll friend you. I'm on Twitter. If you do the whole Twitter thing, @ntalker. I live there equally. I apologize for not spending much time on the Discord. My Discord area is a nightmare because I'm in so many Discord groups. But yeah, I remember that happening. The governor called school off for the whole state, but our school didn't get the memo. That happened to us. That happened to us several times where every other school was closed, but the Michigan City area school systems refused because they just don't care. But I have a lot of history with my old alma mater, both good and bad, and it's a colorful place. But we are at an hour 14. I think we've had a lovely little video. Oh, they had us all sitting in that frigid building until they could refill the buses. I believe it. I am going to call it because if I don't, we're going to get down a bit of a rabbit hole knowing us. And I have some other things I need to. Oh, that's right. I'm sorry, Paris. I have some short-term memory loss issues. It's leftover. I had childhood epilepsy, and it has a few side effects I don't like to always talk about. And part of that is likely the origin of my short-term memory loss, where I lose people's names. I forget key facts. And the longer you're around, the more I will know. Yeah, old-fashioned building with radiator heating and lots of windows. It's -60. They can't keep up. Should have pulled everybody into the gym into a single building or something and just generated heat. Rabbit holes are good for the current year of the rabbit. That is true. She's used to it, Nick. I have it too. Well, it's appreciated your tolerances, and you'll find I'm very open about my failings. I want you guys to all be comfortable here. And while I do have a lot of knowledge and no small amount of experience, I don't ever want to come off as one of those superior, better than thou types. The only reason I took the term sword master is I couldn't find one that wasn't grabbed by any other group and felt right. So it was decided that it's a bit of a parody of weapons master, which there's some discussion over whether I should or shouldn't have. It's a reference to the Heralds of Valdemar and one of the characters I most identify with. Well, please keep coming back because you are absolutely delightful, Paris, and helping people, especially, frankly, people like you, is kind of my jam. So with that said, guys, I want you to all do your drills. Remember, the very first video I put up is still valid. It's the 9 basic guards. I don't blame you at all, Ogre. But thank you for keeping, messaging going. We are missing you already. Yes. But guys, do your drills. Keep your eyes open. Be kind to yourselves and each other. And thank you for supporting your local swordmaster. I will be back next week here for the Historical Fencing Guild, where we will talk about something. I'll think of something special and put it out later. I will be probably sometime this weekend because my trip got canceled because of the weather. With Art Time with Nick, just because I have the work stuff done, doing some fun art over on Nicholas Tuckert, and never mind the furthermore over on the Nicholas Tuckert YouTube channel. So follow me there for more goodies. And other than that, folks, have a lovely night. Stay warm out there. And, I love you all. We'll see you real soon, okay?